Welcome all of you. Today we are going to start Unit 2, Module 1. In Unit 1, we have discussed the multidisciplinary nature of environmental studies and natural resources. In Unit 2, we are going to discuss ecosystem. So this is Module 1. Now, which topic we are going to cover today? Number 1, what is ecosystem? Next, structure and function of ecosystem. What is food chain? What is food web? So, ecosystem is from a term ecology, and this particular term ecology is given by Ernest Haeckel in 1869. Ecology is a Greek word, is derived from a Greek word. There are two words, number 1 oikos and logos. Oikos means home and logos means the study. So, ecology is the study of any home or habitat. Ecology deals with the study of organisms in their natural home interacting with their surroundings. The surroundings or the environment consists of other living organisms and physical components as well. Modern ecologist Tinsley in 1935 believed and described the subunit of ecology as ecosystem. So the system of a habitat in which there is a composition, it is composed of biotic and abiotic factors. Whole and soul, we can say an ecosystem is a group of biotic communities of species interacting with one another and with their abiotic environment or non-living environment, exchanging energy and matter. The ecosystem is thus a unit or a system which is composed of a number of subunits that are all directly or indirectly linked with each other. If we see the structure of ecosystem, as I discussed, there are two components, biotic components and abiotic components. The biotic components are composed of producers, consumers and decomposers. Producers may be autotrophs or chemotrophs. The consumers are of heterotrophs. The decomposers are of saprotrophs, or you can say the microorganisms. The abiotic components are composed of two factors, climatic factor and edaphic factor. Now what are climatic factors? Like rain, light, wind, temperature. These are climatic factors. The edaphic factor means the soil composition, the soil structure, the pH of the soil, the nutrient content, the mineral content, the topography of the soil. So these are all composed of edaphic factor, and both the climatic and edaphic factors are of abiotic components. Now if we want to elaborate the biotic components after producer, consumers and decomposers, there is another category in which we can classify the consumer in 4 different categories. Number 1, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer and quaternary consumer. Primary consumers are herbivores, secondary consumers are primary carnivores, tertiary consumers are large carnivores and quaternary consumers are omnivores. So this is the schematic representation of the structure of ecosystem. Now biotic component. Biotic component, as I told you, the producers, consumers and the decomposers. So biotic components, I discussed that the producers may be of autotrophs or chemotrophs. So plants are autotrophs because they make food with the help of photosynthesis. Some microorganisms which can produce organic matter to some extent through oxidation of certain chemicals in the absence of sunlight, these are under the category of chemoautotrophs. So both are producers. The next is consumers. As I discussed, we can categorize in 4 parts: herbivores, primary carnivores, large carnivores and the omnivores. Decomposers, as I discussed, that saprotrophs or microorganisms are under this category. Various bacteria and fungi are also under the category of decomposers. Abiotic structure, as I discussed, physical and chemical components, and the climatic factors and reactive factors, geographical factors, energy, nutrient and toxic substances are also the part of the abiotic structure. Now what happens when abiotic and biotic factors are with each other, or these are dependent on each other or interrelated to each other. Why we are recognizing the structure of ecosystem? Actually, each and every living organism has their own habitat. That particular habitat is composed of some biotic and abiotic components. That particular habitat is the ecosystem of that organism. Now, there is a term trophic structure. That means for each and every living organism have some transfer of energy, has some interaction with abiotic components. So that transfer of energy, that means if we say plants are having different categories, some are grasses, some are shrubs, some are trees. So when grasses have its own component, have its own habitat, grasses are small in size. I am taking as an example, grasses are small in size, some insects are there, you can count some rotifers are in between the grasses, you can also count some butterflies with the grasses. The nutrient cycle is different, the energy transfer is different. So there are different trophic levels. That means it is the pattern of movement of energy and matter through the ecosystem via the biotic and abiotic components. So the producers and the consumers are arranged in the ecosystem in a definite manner, and their interaction along with the population size are expressed together as a trophic structure. As you can see, there is a pyramidal structure behind me. That pyramidal structure contains different trophic levels of different habitat or different organisms. So each food level is known as trophic level, and you can say it trophic structure. Now, the interconnection of one living organism to the another with respect to the abiotic components as well, that interconnection, that transfer of energy via food intake, we can say there is a term food chain. So this is the sequence of eating and being eaten. All organisms, living or dead, are interrelated to each other, and there is an essential functioning of that particular natural ecosystem. As you can see in this particular diagram which is here, that the grasses have insects, the rotifers are dependent on the insects, on the rotifers different animals are, the squirrel is dependent or any other carnivorous organism is there. Then above there is above that particular carnivore there is a dependent of the large carnivores, and after death and decay the microorganisms or the another decomposers plays their own role. So there is a transfer of energy from one trophic level to the another trophic level. See, this is also the image of a transfer of energy in a food chain from sun to plants, plants to herbivores, and herbivores to the other. Here they have taken some freshwater shrimps, then minnows, then perch, then pigs and ospreys. So there is a transfer of energy from sunlight to the plants and then fishes and to the ospreys. So this is the sequential representation of food chain. There are two types of food chain: grazing food chain and detritus food chain. The grazing food chain means when the chain starts from producers. The detritus food chain starts from the dead organic matter. That means from the decomposers. So that is why we can classify food chain in these two categories. Now food web. When there is an interconnection in between 2, 3 or more than that food chain, then that interaction generates a web-like structure that is known as food web. Whether you can say food chain or a food web, there is always a transfer of energy. Now what is the significance? Why we are studying food chain and food web? That means the significance is that there is a flow of energy and the flow of nutrient. This is the maintenance and regulation of the population size to help maintain the ecological balance. Biological magnification of some content, some component, some nutrient from one trophic level to the another trophic level. As we can say, there are some toxicants or contaminants are available in the nature in the form of pesticides, insecticides, chemicals, industry effluents, and these are all contained variety of harmful components which can transfer from one trophic level to another trophic level with the help of the energy transfer. That process is known as biological magnification. So, the accumulation of such components in each successive trophic level, they keep on increasing in concentration. This phenomena is known as biomagnification or biological magnification. If we see the case study of DDT. DDT is a chemical which is used in the farmland areas for the protection of crops. So, this particular DDT, when this DDT content transfer from farmland areas via the rain to the water bodies, there is a case study that there is a decrease in the population of ospreys there. Why there is a decrease in the population of ospreys? It was recognized that their eggs were immaturely braked at that time. So, that is why the population get decreased. Why there is an immature breakage of the eggs? The reason behind it that the biomagnification of DDT from farmland areas to water bodies to the fishes, from fishes to the large fishes, from large fishes to the ospreys, because osprey is a fish eating bird. So, that is why the concentration from 0.00003 ppm to the 0.04 pm in zooplanktons, from 0.5 ppm in small fishes, 2 ppm in large fishes and 25 ppm in ospreys. So, the concentration of this particular contaminant is continuously increasing, but the energy is decreasing because each and every trophic level only 10% of energy get transferred. So, this is the case study of DDT, very important for you. Now, what we have discussed today, what is ecosystem, what is the structure and function of the ecosystem, what is food chain, classification of food chain, what is food web, and we also discussed the case study of DDT. Thank you.